A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to the World Startup Conclave 2021. The event is organized, conceptualized, and presented by Global Triumph Foundation and in association with Event Planet. World Startup Conclave Virtual Edition is supported by MSME Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabindranath Tagore rightly says, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, I want my country to awake into that heaven of freedom. So, on account of the Independence Day, I wish you all a very happy Independence Day in advance, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host. This day, I'm Anjali. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm co-founder of Avni Green Factory, an agri-tech startup, founder, Creatix Media, and artistic director, Anjali School of Dance and Music. I take this my immense pleasure, indeed my privilege, to welcome each one of you to the virtual edition of World Startup Conclave 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Jobs so rightly says, your work is going to fill major part of your life. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. So the only way to be truly satisfied with what you do is to love what you do. So hope you're all loving what you're doing, and hence we're all here trying to do something in the startup space to innovate to build something. Ladies and gentlemen, World Startup Conclave 2021 is the largest independent startup ecosystem recognition with the mission to find, recognize, and connect the future shapers of the digital age from all around the world. It is an exclusive platform for startups, new age entrepreneurs, industry mentors, investors, business owners, and the student community to come up at one place, explore their entrepreneurial endeavors and experiences, gain amazingly new insights, and pledge to become a valuable part of the ever flourishing startup ecosystem globally. World Startup Conclave 2021 is organized by Global Triumph Foundation and Image Planet, supported by MSME Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, I take this moment to thank our elite sponsor who have been a great source of support to this event. So, without them, this event wouldn't be possible. A big thank you once again to MSME Government of India, to Asian Checkout, to Miraki, and Franchisee Karo. Thank you so much. So, without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's kickstart the World Startup Conclave 2021. We have amazing keynote address. We have panel discussion. We have a lot of awards in store for you. So, I'm sure you're all excited to be a part of the World Startup Conclave 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, such a great tradition of India to kickstart any event by seeking the blessings of the Lord. As the shloka goes, Mushika Vahana Modaka Hasta, Mushika Vahana Modaka Hasta, Chamara Karna Vilambita Sutra, Chamara Karna Vilambita Sutra, Vamana Rupa Maheshwara Putra, Vigna Vinashaka Pada Namaste. So let us kickstart the World Startup Conclave by seeking the blessings of the elephant headed, the one who destroys all the evils and all the obstacles, Lord Ganesha. Here we go with the invocation.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा.
Thank you. That was the invocation on Lord Ganesha. Let Lord Ganesha shower His choicest blessings on everybody, and let all of you be successful and happy in the path you have chosen. Ladies and gentlemen, in spite of his busy schedule, we have with us the dignitary, the chief guest of this event, of this virtual edition, who has virtually graced this occasion. It's my privilege to welcome the very inspiring personality, Shri G.R. Akadas, Director, MSME Development Institute, to this August gathering. So, Akadas sir, a warm welcome to you. It's a pleasure, it's a privilege to have you with us today. So, thank you so much for gracing this occasion. So, we're extremely overwhelmed to have you with us. So, we're all looking forward to hearing from you. So, request you to address the gathering and inspire us.
Thanks for the welcome address, and it was a beautiful introduction from you.
Thank you.
In fact, from a Ministry of MSME, whom I represent, I'm very glad to be here with you all, the entrepreneurs and the startup, because it's the greatest challenge to be faced. As a startup, as we all know, uh, as per my report, I have received the most of the startups are not ending up with success. The success rate is not as expected. This is a very discouraging news. But still, I feel by the entry of some corporates, big corporates like Tata's or Birla's or even Ambani's, they are actually financing into it. That's a very good news. In fact, the awareness among the entrepreneurs to go for a startup, mainly it's because the ignorance. What I say, most of the people don't know where to go, where to approach, where exactly to go, because there are so many. Even the government has done a lot of efforts to it. There are every state has got an agency to sponsor startups. There are investors, angel investors. The only thing, the problem, even we have, I have interacted with many startups who come to us for assistance, even a small amount. Banks, it's very hard to say that banks are all not at all focusing on the startups because they have their own set of rules. But whereas there are agencies who can sponsor this. In fact, from Ministry of MSME, we have some center of excellence set up even in Indian Institute of Bangalore, where the startups can be financed for their ideas, where they can develop their ideas, get IPR, all those things. Even Ministry of MSME is helping. Even incubators we have financed. Every incubators with an ideas, a startup can come with an idea, and these ideas will be financed through seed capital scheme. So there are several schemes open for the startups, which every person needs to know, because innovation, as they say, innovation is the key to success. Unless you innovate, your business is not going to, the competition is very high in the market. And unless you innovate and take a bold step, it's very difficult. In fact, 3 or 4 years back, I was in Goa. I was posted in Goa, and one Armenian company, a startup company, it's a organization which sponsors startups. They have organized one Seaside Startup Summit, where they invited around 100 startups. They invited financiers, angel investors, then government agencies, all brought in a very casual moment. There were even nighttime campfires going on, and B2B meetings going on. This was a 3-day event, and every startup whom they selected got assistance from all these agencies. I think such efforts are needed. Private participation is a must, what I feel, because most of the government of India projects now are going on public-private partnership (PPP) mode, which is very essential. I am really thankful to GTF who have taken up this cause, because this is the need of the hour, and there's a lot of scope after this pandemic. There's a lot of scope for startups, and business opportunities are opening now. This is the right time that the startups should be encouraged, especially from there should be a mentor, like if GTF takes the lead, it'd be a great thing. And from Ministry of MSME and from my institute in Bangalore or Hubli in Karnataka, We welcome entrepreneurs for assistance, whatever assistance they need. They can approach us. All the formalities, we can guide them. So I once again congratulate the GTF and all the organizers for giving me this opportunity. And I don't want to take much of your time, so I just given my thoughts and what you can do. So I wish all the success, and let me know what is the what happened after this program, and what help you need from us, so that we can take up your cause further. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for joining us, for your inspiring words and valuable insights about how to kind of take the support from MSME. I'm sure a lot of the participants today would definitely be benefited by your support. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, it's time to hear their views from the industry experts. And the topic for the panel today, the first panel discussion today, the first and the only panel discussion today is a catalyst for sustainability growth. We always talk about the sustainability to make something which is stable and long lasting. But how do we go about it? What is that ignition that can help in the sustainable growth of businesses? So, keeping the startups in mind, sustainability forms a crucial basis to move on with the business. So, how to innovate and how to really move along with the changes, the market, the scenario, the situations comes of it. So that is the panel all about, a catalyst for the sustainability growth. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome our esteemed moderator to this panel, Mr. Vijeta Shastri, who is the executive director of TAI Bangalore. Warm welcome to Mr. Vijeta. It's a privilege to have you with us today. So, looking forward to some wonderful insights on the catalyst for sustainability growth.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. I've been listening to you for the last 10 minutes. I think you're doing a wonderful job in keeping the energy and sharing all the information about what's happening. And we
Thank you.
just heard, sir, about the kind of support that the government wants to give. So just to share with him that I'm from Goa. I know about what he's talking about, the summit that happened in the seaside of Goa, where people from Armenia, people from all over the world had come down. I was also instrumental in putting all that thing together. And yes, we need to do hundreds of those things, and to bring in more and more support for entrepreneurs, to founders, and to startups, and to innovation in the country. So thank you for that good kind words, and I'm looking forward to, more than anything else, it is the wonderful panelists that we have,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
really matters. Okay, so I'm just looking forward to having them here.
I'm sure we will all be hooked to our monitor screens for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour. So that would be a very engaging discussion. I was so happy to see the kind of work all the panelists have done, and then even you. So that's amazing. So now, moving on, welcoming our first jury, the panelist to this World Startup Conclave. That is R. Gopinath Rao. He is the Deputy Director of MSME Government of India. So, Mr. Gopinath, warm welcome to you. So, we are honored to have you with us today. Gopinath sir is, maybe he is yet to join us. So moving on, once he joins in, I'll welcome him again to the panel. So that was Mr. Gopinath, and it's my privilege to welcome the next panelist to this August gathering. That is Mr. Vipul Saini. He is Senior Manager Innovation Lab from Kotak Bank. So Mr. Vipul, warm welcome to this panel. So pleasure to have you with us today. Hope you're
Thank you
doing
so
good.
much. Pleasure to be here. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the introduction. Good evening, Vijeta sir. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Vipul.
So happy to have
Delighted.
you also with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, so moving on and welcoming our next panelist, and it is Mr. Pavan Madaru. He is an AI architect, TechM UK, working for telecom, manufacturing, insurance verticals to build technology intensity AI products. So that's interesting, Mr. Pavan. So welcome to this panel. So glad to see you here.
Thank you all. Thank you, Vijeta. Thank you, team of GTF.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. Ladies and gentlemen, so welcoming the next panelist to the panel, that is Mrs. Darshika Singh. She's a marketing professional. She is an ex-associate director of Yulu, working for a fintech startup at the moment, and have worked with brands like Yulu, Instamojo, Bank of Baroda, and Pepsi in the last 12 years. So, warm welcome to Darshika. Hope you're
Thank you
doing
so
good,
much. Thanks a lot.
and welcome to
Yeah,
this
it's a pleasure
panel.
to be here. Yeah.
Same here. Pleasure to have you all. So over to our wonderful moderator, Vijeta. I'm sure this will be a very engaging session to set the wheels rolling. So over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And hi, Vipul. Hi, Pawan. Hi, everyone. Hi, Dashika. And listen, I'm here as a student. I'm here to learn and listen to all you folks. Okay. So, as the moderator, I'm going to be very, very light touch. And yes, with the permission of Vipul and Pawan, I'm going to start with Darshika. Okay.
I was about to just interrupt in between and say that'll be a very wrong statement that you will be a
Yeah.
student here. I consider you to be the most, the greatest value addition,
Oh
coming
man,
from you.
you're just being kind. You're just being kind, Darshika.
Yeah.
So so this is
Let's
the thing
start.
that I want to ask you, Darshika, right? So
Yeah.
obviously you have also worked with Yulu, and now I understand that you're in the hottest sector ever. One can imagine the fintech sector where investments are pouring in, innovation is happening.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because Vipul is part of the innovation team of Kotak. So I don't think you're really disrupting banks, but you're working with them. Okay. So we are all
Sure.
here as friends. We are all here as collaborators. So Darshika, you see, you're a subject matter expert on marketing, content, getting things out. I mean, hats off to all the innovation that you have done in that field, especially, right? So, what is your thought process on this? As we talk about sustainability, as we talk about growth, we talk about innovation, we talk about startups, and we talk about large enterprises. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
get bigger than Tech Mahindra and Kotak, but they are
True.
also looking at innovation. They are also looking at how do we reach out to the masses? How do we
Yeah.
get our message out there, right? So, what are
Yeah.
your viewpoints and what are the hot trends? And what should founders be doing? Darshika, let's talk about founders now. Let's keep the enterprises and the big daddies out there for silent for a moment. Let's talk about that.
Sure. So would love to add on that, considering I have very closely worked with some of the greatest founders. In fact, in UK, currently I'm working for Sachin Bansal's fintech startup called Navi. So generally what I've seen is, when founders try to things, firstly, they identify a problem in the given ecosystem. And once that problem is identified, probably the startup is all about the solution of that problem. And once basically the next best challenge what as a founder I have seen them fighting for is finding that MVP, finding that minimum viable product which they can take to the market. And probably once that is sorted, the product is acceptable, that's in the testing phase, but then they prepare for the next step, for sure, for that the catalyst effect. So that I don't see people waiting that okay, if this goes up, but they do that long term thinking, they do have that vision. Okay, what next? And that's how I have seen basically how things scale in startup, because I have worked in the traditional banks and I have worked in agile startups as also. Not that other corporates do not think of that, they do think of that. They are probably solving very large problems or say multiple problems. But with startup what happens is they pick one of the problems, not all the problems at a time, and try to solve for that particular problem with the best efforts. After that minimum viable product is already there, probably then from domains like mine where it's more of the product thing, or maybe product iterations, or how do we take that product to the masses, or how do we publicize that product, or how do we take it to the consumer, that attempt basically start. And you asked me about how the founders overview, so this is how it is. If you want, we can pause here and we can come back again on what happens in the marketing bit next.
Absolutely, Darshika. So I think one of the key things here is when I move to power next, but I want to say that we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about growth, we're talking
Yeah,
about innovation, and we're also
true.
obviously this means a lot of hard work, a lot of research, a lot of sales, and
Yeah.
ability to convince people to open up their deep pockets. And
Yes.
of course, Pavan and Tech Mahindra, they've been in the news for so many things, doing some
Yeah.
amazing work, and respect to them. But thanks, Darshika, you have set the tone. Appreciate that. And now I will move to Pavan. So Pavan, we were having our pre-session chat, and you were saying so. There's so much of innovation happening. there is a lot of opportunities in whether it's in healthcare or whether it's in fintech or whether Tech Mahindra is one of the it's growing to such in such a global stake, and you're pulling in so much of people into the game. You all are a big employers. So I want to also stress about that, right? It's like we as a country need a lot of jobs, we need a lot of employment, we need a lot of capital infusion if we want innovation and research and growth to happen. So Pawan, we would love to hear your inputs and thoughts on the ecosystem and around innovation and growth in all the various sectors that you are a expert on. So please, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, Vijeta, I can start.
Please, sir. The floor is all yours.
So I come from a background where I'm into the architecture using the AI. I stitch the technologies, and I understand the industry area, problem area, as Darshika was saying, like the MVP we identify, and at the same time we take up the smallest possible problem which can be solved for the largest possible community in a shortest possible time with the minimum resources. That's the objective with the initial cycle of it. So we take up a direction of either the research entry point where we have the research papers or the journals as an entry point where we do some experiments and try to see the feasibility, viability, etc. So the last one I recollect which we were doing is on the uh, manufacturing industry use cases where we were trying to stitch IoT plus AI and trying to get the output on the mixed reality and try to provide the operational benefit for the users actually. And we worked with some energy and utilities company which we tried to replicate that, and then it was actually successful. At the same time we tried with NHS. So the way we look at it is like the MVP we have, is this a problem which is going to be actually solving the larger community, wherein by the MVP itself we should be able to sustain our particular product, saying that yes, this particular feature is sufficient for us to say that yes, our operational expenditure and the capex is actually maybe is sufficient to even consider the sample users, test users, etc. And then for the B2C segment, if you want to consider, like it's more like a investment in the longer run. So we either go through the incubator partnerships, or we either go through the partnership of the larger enterprises which are already into the space, and try to see like where we can get an entry point to a larger base directly after the MVP itself. So these are the two directions which we have taken along with the research for our MVP next level, actually, for a startup entry point for research and innovation.
Okay, fantastic. So Pawan, there is hope, right? You are looking for startups. You are looking to maybe acquire or even give them POCs, etc. Right? So there is hope for the innovation ecosystem and founders out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. More of,
Fantastic, Pawan.
actually, it's more like it's a combination of the teams now. If you see the incubator, an investor, and a partner along with a entrepreneur, it comes as a joint ecosystem which has to be built end of the day in order to get into the market actually.
Of course. Fantastic, Pawan. I'm going to connect with you, man. We work with so many startups and incubators, accelerators. So there's a lot of synergies that we can create. And of course, we have Monica here who's been doing a beautiful work with GTF. So all of us must combine forces and do something wonderful for the ecosystem and community. So thank you, Pawan. Thank you so much. So I'm going to come back to you to ask you for more specific information of what exactly Tech Mahindra is coming in. But now
Sure.
I will just move to my good friend Vipul. So hi Vipul, thank you so much for taking time out. I know that you're doing these 18-hour days in the last few days, and you're still looking fresh for a few more hours over the weekend as well. But
Thank you so much
but
for this.
no problem, Vipul. So,
Like you mentioned a while earlier, it's a very exciting time to be in this particular space.
absolutely. So, Vipul, of course, we're going to keep it as crisp as bullet pointed as possible. Okay. So, we're talking about innovation, we're talking about startups, we're talking about POCs, we're talking about sandbox requirements where they can actually solve problems, earn some money, gain some PR visibility, and move on to the next level, right? So, how is Kotak doing it? And I know that you have this experience with the NASCOM and your work with Growth Story. You yourself have been an entrepreneur and you have been battling it out to take your innovations and your IP to the market. So what are your viewpoints and what can founders learn from the experiences that you have had in the last few years?
Yeah, I mean that's a very fair question, Vijay sir, and thank you so much for asking that and setting the tone. I would say that what we're trying to build with the Innovation Lab at Kota Bank right now is to build synergies with startups, is to build synergies with organizations that are, let's say, at a Series B or a Series C, which I would predominantly not refer to them as early stage startup. But the idea here is very simple. We are looking at organizations where we can collaborate to create better experiences for the customer, and the complete discussion is around creating value for the customers. As Darshika, rightly said in the beginning, that when the founders have an idea, they focus on one particular idea and they thrive on doing it well. We look at that. We look at how well researched an idea is, and we look at it from the point of view of the customer base. So we look at how the customer is reacting to the product idea. Are they buying into it? Are they understanding the value? And what components of that particular idea or that particular product from the startup is actually helping them get that level of success. So the idea is very simple. If you have an interesting idea, right? If you are in the consumer tech space, if you're in the fintech space, we're ready to have a discussion. But what we're looking at in a very simple clause is show us what is the value that you create, right? What is the customer strength that you're thriving on? And that's how we can, collaborate and work together. And again, I mean, that comes from a lot of research in terms of my own expertise where I've worked and helped create some of the largest B2C companies in the Indian ecosystem. And what we've done in NASCOM, what we've done in other places, and how the whole value chain of the startup has been created, and the distinction that the founders and the startups can create today, and moves in such a fast pace, is again from the aspect of saying that are we delivering that real customer value? Again, the reason I keep iterating on it is because that's the paramount the value that we actually look at, and that's what we keep coming back to again and again. So that's one of the driving factors. With respect to what you said earlier in terms of fintech being a very hot space, definitely true. I think what is interesting is that the idea is that in the fintech space today, you don't have startups that are threat to the bank, you don't have the banks that are threat to the fintechs. It's about collaboration. Right? There's new technology being created, there are new applications being created, there are better formats in which we can create more value for our customers. Inherently, there are better ways in which we can collaborate with fintech startups to bridge more value for the customers. So it's all about collaboration. It's about, again, like I said, the right customer experience, building that customer experience.
Awesome. So I think it's about customer experience, Mukul, and value also would mean top line and bottom line, right? I mean, whatever is said and done, ultimately, whichever organization it is, you need to make money. You're answerable to stakeholders. You're answerable to shareholders. You want your employees to get their money and paid on time. So there's a lot of responsibility also. And I want to just touch base with both you and Pawan about that, right? There is a responsibility. It is not just that you owe something to the startup ecosystem or to innovators or founders or startups. You're also responsible to the organizations. I want you guys to talk a little bit about that so that startups understand, for example, that they have to be legally strong, financially strong, the team has to be good, they should not mess up on IP, whatever. So I want you both to talk about that. But now I would love to go back to Darshika. And the Darshika, Amit Gupta, Yulu Bikes, the company that you worked with before, one of the innovators doing some amazing work. And also what I appreciate about Yulu also is that they've done a lot of partnerships. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you've also worked with the Bank of Baroda, if I'm not mistaken, Darshika, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yes, so
Yeah.
you work in banks, and then now
Yeah.
you're working with one of the most respected and most well-known founders slash entrepreneurs in the entire Indian history of the last 30, 40 years. So how are the different pressures that come on you? Content, marketing, outreach, engagement with ecosystem, putting on, you have to create something that is viral, right? That's the word. I mean, in the right context or whatever it is. So throw some light on that. But I wanted to think about this.
Okay.
Tell what can the founders do when they don't have too much of money,
Yeah.
right?
So,
No money. Remember, not too much money because you I mean, the other brands we talked about have a lot of
yeah.
money. But how will you
Yeah,
do that,
in fact,
Shika?
that was a biggest shock coming back from Bank of Baroda, which where I was not talking even in lakhs; it was only in crores when we were planning the marketing campaigns or budgets or the yearly planning, whatever was happening. Versus after that, I joined InstaMojo, and I remember that it was nowhere close to crores, and every penny which you spend, it was like you really have to think. It was like your money, how you manage your houses, right? That everything, even you will bargain with the sabji wala for like give it to me at a lesser price. So it was exactly that, whatever budget you had to prove that the maximum ROI is coming. And for startups, what I have seen is it is very metrics driven. It is not something that what I have used it for a brand campaign, and it is very difficult to justify a brand campaign if the brand campaign is not somewhere reflecting in the numbers, whether the brand campaign has resulted in more users, whether it has generated more revenue. If you have spent, you have to get something, is the straight away marketing mantra what I have feel is in startups, which is followed. And going by that principle, you kind have you need to innovate, considering that you cannot splurge always. You don't have big and heavy deep pockets to kind of plan. You really need viral ideas. You really have to play around with what you have. So we try and create a lot of content properties. We try, I mean, what are the ways in which I can tell the users that there is a product which exists. It could be different forms of content, expecting and keeping fingers crossed that one of it may go viral, whether it's an Instagram post or an Instagram reel, or a blog which you write, or you create a microsite and run some campaigns. So these are the different forms of content pieces what marketers like us kind of explore. But one very important thing which really helps in scaling is the collaboration, which Vipul also briefly mentioned. And during my stint with the Instamojo, I was in touch with Kotak, just requesting that, hey, with such a big base what you already have at Kotak, is there a way where fintech startups like us can explore synergies? So for that dynamics, definitely collaboration. And with you also, Vijeta, while your NASCOM stint, I was in touch, that help us with more incubators where a PG solution can be pitched at a very nascent stage. So I mean, that's one thing which has really scaled. In fact, you lose growth also, and in my current role also, I'm scouting for such collaboration based approach where it's a win-win situation basically for both the partners, not just something which is just acting in my favor. That there's value add to both sort of institutions and companies, and that's one thing which I feel that goes very long term. I create a content, it can be viral for a moment and then it fades away. But such collaborations really have that potential, which can really go a long way, help in a sustained growth manner. As in when Kotak, like how the Kotak bank itself will grow, if we have a collaboration, our fintech startup also will grow. So it's like growth for both the companies. So it's there where I want
Absolutely,
to take it.
absolutely. So, Darshika, I think you have really hit the nail on the head, right? It's about together. It's
Yes,
growth for
it's
both. It's not just
yeah.
that, oh, I'm a startup, you need to pay me, you need to give me support. So what? I mean, there are for
It's
50,000
completely about
start.
collaboration. Yeah,
Yes,
blue
yes.
ocean strategies. And, that's how I have seen that it has really worked, rather than me saying that, hey, a big institution couldn't solve for this problem and me as a startup will solve. No, I cannot solve it alone. I mean, it has to be both of us have to come together to fight for a common cause, it seems.
Fantastic, fantastic. So just to give a quick thing, that 14 minutes is exactly precisely the time that we have got. So I'm going to put in as many questions and as many conversation pieces over here. So let's keep it as fast and easy and insightful for the audience. We owe it to the audience also. So Pawan, blockchain, AI, these are the buzzwords or keywords. But what does it
Yeah.
actually mean? And what are the exact things that you want startups to do for you at Tech Mahindra? If you'd like
Yeah,
to throw light.
yeah, I can take up some recent examples of the very smallest possible things which were happening with us. So there was a problem identified with one of the telcos where they were sending the manual documents actually to the customers, consumers of theirs, for the brochures, assurance, or support for the product, etc. So where they have to, how do they plug in and all that. So there was a spent of around almost like 1.5 million pounds on an average quarterly on that for all these customers. So they were looking like for a solution wherein, like, what is this? Are we going to continue this? So there was a simple solution like QR to AR VR innovation, wherein augmented reality was used to convert that, and the same in the app itself, like they could incorporate that and provide the same to the customers for the future. So this actually enabled them with a very small solution. Actually, if you see the enterprises also today, we are actually targeting at a very small group of innovations, where even if it's a very small entity of a $10 million or $20 million group of 20 people working on something, they will have some innovation to be implemented and research to be done, wherein which can be replicated in other teams across the world. For example, if I have to take up the example of edge computing, which we have done, we had a lab of makers. We had a makers lab, which is a research and innovation division, which is spread across the world. We have in UK also. So we work closely with the lab, wherein we try to see what is the next best problem that can be replicated across. So it's a iterative cycle, I can say. Like, there are ideas which fail, there are ideas which succeed, but then yes, we that's a continuous process of innovation, and which is now across every division. And business case is something which we start with, like, okay, if I invest 50K, what is the ROI, or what is the benefit I can get? So what who is benefited, how are they benefited? So these are the questions which are being asked by the stakeholders or the investors, unlike the conventional days wherein, okay, next year you have this budget and use this.
Very interesting, very interesting. But Pavan, I think what is also the message that is coming out is, if they're really focused and they know that it should be a win-win collaboration and they should show value, there is more and more opportunity. And of course, I can personally vouch for
Exactly.
this. Tech Mahindra is a very friendly institute, and you all are very good with the community. You all
Yeah.
come out and speak, and you all do a lot of good work. So
Yeah,
thank you for that, Pavan.
yeah, that is one reason we have around 27 partnerships in last 14 months, I can say. So
Awesome.
either
So
it
we
could
are.
be a startup or it could be a young company with Series A or
Uh-huh.
Series B also.
Fantastic. So, Pawan, you must also let us know, and I'm reaching out to you. If there
Yeah.
are any links or articles or blogs around that, I want to publicize it, because the world
Definitely.
needs to know about this, right? About the collaborations that's happening, the co-creations that are happening. I mean, please, I mean, this is an open thing to both, all three of you, right? Please, I mean, I will be the evangelist. I will be the super distributor on that, this kind of information. So let me know. Please let me know. And
Sure.
thank you, Pawan. Thank you so much, Pawan. And now,
Thank you.
Vipul, getting back to you, right? Kotak Bank, there are many other banks, but you're a homegrown Indian bank. You'll have also acquired, in the last few years, a lot of acquisitions have happened. And recently, all the results that have come out show that you guys are in very good shape. So basically, there's a lot of dry powder. And yes, the bank also wants more customers. You all want to work with more startups. You all want to work with more innovators. But how is it working for you in terms of the sandbox that you're creating, in terms of all the various activities that you're going to do for the innovators, and the growth that you're going to provide, not just for your bank, but also for the people that you work with and the startups. So what's going on that, Vipul?
So yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, when I started this discussion, that it's a very interesting place to be at right now. There's a lot of action that's happening, and when we talk about collaborations, I'm predominantly not just stifling the conversation down to just fintechs. We are looking at collaborating with consumer tech companies. We're looking at collaborating with agrotech. We're looking at collaborating with edtech. We're looking at collaborating with multiple other revenues. Again, at the heart of it being that, how do we create more value for our customers? How do we improve our engagement rate? Because what I think people would relate to Kotak Bank initially when it came out, was the offer that Kotak Bank gave, that we give you the highest returns on your saving account, right? That was with the intention of creating value for our customers. And again, as an organization, that's at the heart of what we're continue always trying to build towards. And I think that also translates into a lot of success, because today, while you have multiple opportunities to bank with multiple organizations, you have multiple fintechs out there. The idea is that we are trying to create a process for you. We are trying to create a structure along with the startups and along with the ecosystem, where you probably have one touch point to do multiple activities and multiple services. So we are looking at engaging from that point of view, and like Darshita said, happy to look at collaborations. We are happy to look at and discuss what we can do together. Pawan sir mentioned something really interesting from the AI enablement point of view, and the other deep tech aspect point of view, and how those integrations are important. Similarly, here again, we are looking at how are those ideas getting translated into a business prospect. So to give you a quick example, today you will find a lot of neobanks who are coming into the space, targeting the next generation of new account owners, and I'm talking about predominantly from the tier one and the metro cities. While the story for tier three and other cities are very different, and that's a different challenge we're facing because of smartphone penetration still happening and this new feature phones. If I focus more towards the larger cities, the idea is that you have the next generation of people schools and colleges and entering the workforce. So we're looking at neobanks that are creating value for them from a point of view managing their finances. Right, they're looking at micro investment where you spend, let's say about 9 rupees on an Uber service, right? But that 1 rupee that's saved that gets invested in your portfolio, that's the value that gets created for your customer, right? So we are looking at those ideas. We're looking at that technology. We're looking at how seamlessly we can integrate that with the larger system, right? Because being a bank, it's that much more complex in terms of getting those activities done. So again, in short, we are looking at collaboration. Please feel free to reach out. But some of the parameters, that we look at is, how are you building a product? What's the customer story? How have customers reacted to your particular product and your idea? What is the engagement rate that you're looking at? You might be at an early stage. You might be at a stage where you're still looking for seed. We're open to talk. You might be at a later stage where you're like post Series B or Series C. Again, if you have an interesting product, we're open to talk. And again, as we discussed on this panel, the idea is open collaboration. That's what works. And I think that's very interesting that you were able to sum it up and bring it all to your business.
Fantastic. So again, the time check as a moderator, we have precisely 7 minutes left. So I'm going to be very round table-ish, so I can get at least inputs from all three of you for a minute each. Okay. So Darshika, the rapid question for you is that, okay, you are the subject matter expert, you have the pedigree, you have the skills, you have the learning, content, going viral, creating beautiful, beautiful stuff that can be appealing to the audience. But if there is a founder out there who doesn't really understand his game, who only understands coding or whatever it is, has never created a content, never created a blog, never created an explainer video, etc., what should they look out for? What are the skills can they learn? And what are the few things that you think is important for them to focus on? You have
I
one
think
minute.
Sure. So I think once they have figured out if there is a founder who has cracked the product bit, I think this is an easier problem to solve for sure. Because if the customers have accepted that product, the first 100 customers will be the biggest brand ambassadors, and they will teach you all about marketing. So I think that is what I have learned and I have followed. So I'll just go by that, keeping the time constraint, nothing
No,
much,
no,
but
no,
then
no constraints on time. Don't worry about that,
no,
please.
but I think definitely the first 100 customers do teach you a lot. They
Okay.
do teach you, and just I mean, my only advice would be as a subject matter expert. Also, if you don't know anything about this, just do one thing: keep talking to your customers, stay close to them, and all this could be figured out. You will
Okay.
yourself feel the urge or a need that okay, now my customer needs a mailer. It seems from me, and you will definitely figure out email marketing. So similarly, like this, you will figure out all the routes of
Okay.
marketing.
So Darshika, very quickly, tools that you use. Like
Tools
you
that I
use.
use,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mostly use a lot of automation tools because of which I can make my life easy. So, and a lot of analytics tool for sure. So MoEngage, CleverTap, these are the kind of tools which really help me in making, like what Vipul also said, right? Customer experience is very important these days, and how you could make that easy. These are the tools which help me, make that easy. Otherwise, people in my team use a lot of other technical tools. Like a designer may be using the whole Adobe suite, and there will be other people who will be using a lot of tools for content also. And there are companies also who are coming up and using all sorts of AI and all for even revamping how content can be done. But if you ask me, basically for sending emails, SendGrid, MailChat, tools like this, or for automation, there are now tools which are available. So you use one tool like a HubSpot or thing, and you aggregate all your requirements in that tool. So closely moving towards that as well.
Fantastic, Darshika. So it is important, isn't it? Technology, using tools,
Yeah.
make your
Yes.
life easier so that you can reach out to a wider audience, and
Yeah.
beautiful content. You need to have compelling
Yeah.
content because there's
Yeah.
so much out there. You got to stand out and you got to message out there.
And
Fantastic,
that's the only
Darshika.
thing
Yeah.
which can help you stand out. True.
Awesome, super awesome. Thank you for that. I think you were very candid and you gave some very important inputs. So CleverTap, MoEngage, Adobe,
Yeah.
so many things that are available at a small cost. It actually is not too much, but you can save a lot of time and you
Yeah.
can use it
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Darshika. Thank you so much for that. So Pawan, coming to you, wear the hat of a startup founder, and how will you crack the citadel of working with Tech Mahindra and making lots of money?
So,
Easy question for you.
yeah, which we have done already. You're saying. So the idea is like the first cycle we have for taking up our experiments. For example, when we were doing stitching the IoT, AI, and AR, when we were doing some research and innovation, what we had done was we had taken some Raspberry Pi or Adreno devices, which are much cheaper as a commercial entity, and then taken some sensors which are like GPS or temperature and all of this, which are like hardly 5 or 10 rupees sometimes. And then these are the ones which we start using along with the Azure on the cloud platform, where you can do that MVP faster. Like it's not more than 2 or 3 sprints, like mostly 6 to 8 weeks timeline, and wherein you approach a founder saying, this is the output, this is how you see your report, and this is the validation you can give. Like your engineer visits are reduced by these many times, and then these many engineers need not go to the site, and the number of contracts to the engineers for the site visits can reduce by around 1000% in just 1 year, and your ROI is there. Now please let us have the funding, sort of. So this sort of cycle we try to replicate, actually.
Awesome, awesome, Pawan. I think you really made that. No? The top line, bottom line impact, show how it works, and then you have a POC and you have an opportunity, and you're making lots of money.
Exactly.
Fantastic, Pawan. Thank you for that.
Thank
4:38. We have a few minutes left, so Vipul, in a short capsule, it's Kotak is a huge entity. You have business units, you have so many people, customer service, customer facing, transactions, so many things. Mergers, acquisitions, whatever. So entire pool, how does it converge into innovation and startups and the ecosystem? If you can throw some very quick light on that.
Got it. Got it. So basically, what we are trying to do internally with Kotak Bank, and that's how the innovation lab started off, is that the innovation lab team works with all the business heads across the organization, right? So we understand what are some of the problem statements, what are the key concerns of the business leaders internally within the bank. We create them into use cases and studies, and with that, we approach startups which are either solving that particular problem, or let's say are in the vicinity of solving that particular problem, and we connect with them. So the innovation lab is, kind of like the SPOC for the startup ecosystem, and we're open to connect, have discussions. Let's say if there's a startup that wants to reach out and say, we're solving this particular problem, does it comply with any of the problem statements that we are currently facing? Happy to have that discussion. And what I would like, the audiences to remember is that, just because you reach out initially with a problem statement, or you say you have a solution for a particular problem statement that one bank might face, the other might not, because we're also at different stages of growth, right? That doesn't mean you need to get it disheartened. The idea is to keep the communication open, keep the channel open, discuss with people. And the good part about the ecosystem today is that people are open in terms of sharing ideas. You reach out to people, you ask questions. Thanks to people like you, sir, being at the heart of it, communication becomes vital. So keep that channel of communication open, ask questions. That will not only enable you to identify, let's say, the lower hanging fruits, where you can quickly sell your solution, or quickly partner with a larger organization to get a valuable POC. But what it also does, it gives you real time feedback on your products, right? So what my duty also strives as at this particular role is to give genuine feedback, and to give that feedback fast, because that saves a lot of time and effort from the founder's perspective or the team perspective, to either modify the solution or go back to the drawing board and figure out another way of solving that particular problem, because
Absolutely,
you can
absolutely.
realistically test it out. Yes, sir.
Fantastic,
So
fantastic.
that's how it works.
Yeah, and I think the very fact that at on a Saturday evening, all three of you are giving your time to talk about innovation and sustainability and growth and enabling startups and ecosystem means that we are in a good space, and there is a lot of positive energy out here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 more minutes, so relax. So I just got a message from so I just got a message from Monica that we're bringing the house down, and we have some more time. So let's relax and talk about it. But see, this is something that I really want to ask each of you three, right? So one is, yes, you all are immersed in whatever you are doing. You are professionals doing very well for yourselves, but there will be moments of doubt. There'll be moments when you have to reach out to some coaches, mentors, and you have to kind of, like, you may have all the experience and you think that you're right, but how do you know you're right? How do you kind of use a sounding board, or how do you do a testing, or how do you kind of verify that whatever the plan of action, etc., you're trying to do is really going the right way? We can't predict it for 100%, but I just really want this to be shared with the ecosystem and community of startups and founders, that overconfidence is dangerous, and there should be some ways where you can actually know if you're in the right path. So this is an open-ended question. I would like each three of you to take a little bit of time to talk about that, please. Darshika, you may go ahead if you don't mind.
So yeah, Vijata, there are certain incidences like that, and where you are in a dilemma whether this will scale or this will not, or this is right or this is wrong. The best thing what I have seen generally founders or myself picking up from them doing is firstly see if there is an existing playbook which already exists, because if there is a playbook which already exists, it kinds of and that's working, that kinds of gives a lot of comfort. Okay, if that can be done, this also can be done, and it gives you some room that okay, you can further innovate in that playbook, but at least a start is kind of validated and it gives you more confidence to start. However, if there's nothing, I think most of the startup is all about risk taking, and we have to go with that gut feeling and experiment it out, that whether this works or not. But of course there are certain rationale which are behind it. You would be watching out some metrics, some data behind the whole rationale, or launching maybe a product or service or anything new in your business. So that's how I have seen things happening around me.
Ready. Thank you so much for that. Okay, Pawan.
Yeah, for me, it will be more like a business canvas map, one slider sharing with the incubators, partners, customers, like wherever possible, and try to get their feedback, and then do again text analytics on it to see like if it's really good to go.
Perfect, perfect. So, Pawan, one quick thing, question I want to ask you, right? How much when you are working with these founders, startups, innovators, what about team dynamics and the track record? Is that something that is important for you to really deep dive and understand better?
When you're talking about team dynamics, are you saying about the what are the types of teams we need to?
The core team or the implementation team of the startups, founders, innovators that you're working with. Is
Yeah,
that something also that's important for you to evaluate?
exactly. Exactly, because we need the four key pillars, we can say at least, wherein somebody is expertise in finance, and because a technology expert might not be a finance expert or a marketing expert or commercial expert. So it's more like a amalgamation of the team, wherein you need to find a co-founder for that particular team. You might have to reach out to that particular expertise person to get in, like marketing, finance, technology, and operations. All the four go as a combination. So any one pillar we don't have, we will reach out to other team or other partner company or other incubator or any other customer who is actually ready to partner or something like that.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. And these are important factors that I would love the founders also to kind of pay attention to, because this will help you to crack the large corporates and gain your money. Perfect. Thank you, Pawan. And Vipul, over to you.
So in the time of doubt, I actually had this question, at the early stage of my career when I was working with Growth Story, and when we were looking at solving a lot of problems, because I had about 4 years of experience that I was right out of B school, and I was working with people who were already founders, who had a lot of experience in terms of growing and working with organizations. So it was always daunting to go back to them and say, hey, this is my idea, this is what we can do. And a lot of times I used to reach out to them saying, hey, you must have seen a problem like this in your career before. How do we solve this particular problem? And one piece of advice that has actually stood by me, and has been measured by the test of time is, one of my old bosses told me was that, I don't know the answer to all the questions. I'm not Yoda. But what you can actually do is ask the customers. And predominantly from there on, whatever I've done, whether it be a B2C company, a B2B company, a D2C company, in the ecosystem, when you're pitching to investors, everywhere, right? If you understand, what your customers want, ask them the questions. If you ask them the right questions, they'll give you the right answers, right? And I've seen substantial business growth in that format. I'm talking about, an initial stage, B2C company in India, where we were able to increase the audience members from, let's say, about 500 in a week to about 10,000 by the end of that week, just because we did a few things right, to an organization like Simply Hired, where we just listened to what our customer base was saying. We improved their revenue by $30 million in under 3 months, and we were able to then talk to Indeed.com, and that they got acquired by Indeed.com. Similarly, stories came across some really amazing B2B companies also, that were able to crack great deals, and create and understand the customer journey. To give you an example, there was a company in the B2B space. They understood the problem, what GE was trying to solve, did it really well. And I remember sitting with the founder one day, and the founder, looking at Google and searching and finding out articles written about his product and about his journey by other people. right? And they were actually being, showcased around by GE themselves. Because GE said, "Hey, it's a great product. We love it." So they were selling it to their vendors as well. So I feel, from that point of view, whenever in doubt, go back to your customers, have a conversation with them. They're your best friends.
Awesome, super awesome. So see, listen, this conversation has been so engaging and so interesting, but all good things sometimes have to come to an end. So, firstly, from my side, I have learned a lot, and this has been wonderful. Thank you, Darshika. Thank you, Pawan and Vipul. We will, of course, I would love to stay connected with all three of you individually as well and figure out what else can be done. But first, a shout out to Monica from the Global Triumph Foundation for putting all this together. Amit and Monica, you guys are wonderful. And it's been a wonderful summary of learnings about innovation, startups, and collaborations, win win, creating content, using tools. How do you prepare to work with corporates? What do you focus on? And customers. Customers matter because that's where the money is, that's where the emotions are, and that's where the learning is. So, lady and gentlemen, thank you so much for this wonderful time and conversation. And over to the host, and let's have a wonderful and safe weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijeta, and all the moderators, all the panelists. It's been a great panel. As I told you, we were literally hooked to the screens, and that's the kind of even the comments we have been getting from all the participants. That it's been a very insightful session, and we really love the way Vijeta you moderated the whole session and bringing everybody's viewpoints together and so well summarized. Thank you so much, all of you, for doing this. Thank you for gracing this occasion. And it's a Saturday evening, and you've all taken time and been with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, moving on is the time that a lot of you are looking forward to, along with our panel. That's the time to present the awards to the startup founders and people who've been doing amazing work in the startup space. So Jirol C. Ekadale so rightly says recognition is the greatest motivator, isn't it? So recognitions can definitely be a propellant to add to the work you've been doing and an ignition to move forward, and it definitely enhances that confidence and the whole potential to go forward and do an amazing work in the field you have chosen. So in that way, Global Triumph Foundation and Image Planet, they've been doing a great job of recognizing the leaders from various walks of life, especially in the startup segment, through this World Startup Conclave 2021, and bringing them under one roof and then awarding them and honoring them for the work, the contribution they've been giving to this society. So, without much ado, let us move on to the main part, another main part of this event, that is presenting the awards for the achievers. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to present the World Startup Conclave Award to the achievers, and I'm very excited to take you through the categories and the kind of achievers who've been winning the awards. Each one of them, they've been doing an exemplary work in the fields they have chosen. The first category is Best in Architecture and Interior Design. And the award goes to the best founder, high tech stuff. And it is Teja Gangapatnam. So, congratulations to Mr. Teja Gangapatnam. So, high tech stuff have been doing a great work in the interior design space. And then he gets this award. He backs this award under the category Best in Architecture and Interior Design. So, congratulations to Mr. Teja. Ladies and gentlemen, the next category to present this award is for Best International Luxurious Spa in Gandhinagar. And the award goes to Japan Patel, who is the founder of Mantra, the Luxurious Spa. Congratulations, Japan. So, mantra is a luxurious spa, so which has been into the beauty and wellness. Congratulations to Japan for bagging this award under the category. Next category, ladies and gentlemen, is the best emerging entrepreneur, and the award goes to Tokchom Sanju Singh, founder Edu Life India. So, Edu Life India founder Tokchom Sanju Singh gets the award in the category of best emerging entrepreneur. So, congratulations and wishing you all the very best in all your endeavors. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is Best Natural Handcrafted Hair Care Products. Best Natural Handcrafted Hair Care Products. And the award goes to uh, Kaksha Thakur. Kahakasha Thakur. She is the director of New Jeans Wellness Private Limited, Miraki. So, congratulations, Kahakasha Thakur, the director of New Jeans Wellness Private Limited, for bagging the award under the category Best Natural Handcrafted Hair Care Products. Congratulations. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is Best in Healthcare Startup, and the award goes to MedStem. Tarani Sen Meher, a co-founder of MedStem Private Limited, gets this award under the category Best in Healthcare Startup. So, Tarani Sen Meher, congratulations for this award and wishing you all the very best in all your endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, the next category is Best Manufacturing Business of the Year. And the award goes to Mr. Himanshu Vemula. He's the founder director of Biosapia Organic Solutions Private Limited. Congratulations to Himanshu Vemula for getting this award, for bagging this award under the category Manufacturing Business of the Year 2021. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is for the Startup of the Year. And the award goes to Mr. K. Rajkumar, Assistant Professor and Mentor at KPR Infra, KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. So, congratulations to Mr. K. Rajkumar, who is the Assistant Professor and also the mentor for the category Startup of the Year. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is the Emerging Startup of the Year. And the award goes to Dr. Ashutosh Kar, the CEO of Advance LLP. So, Advance LLP gets the Emerging Startup of the Year, and the CEO, Dr. Ashutosh, backs this award. Congratulations to Ashutosh. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is for Innovative Quantum Research Organization. So, Innovative Quantum Research Organization award is backed by the Quantum Research and Center of Excellence founder and president, Dr. Kumar Gautam. So, congratulations to Dr. Kumar Gautam for this award under the category Innovative Quantum Research Organization. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is innovative contribution in the healthcare sector. And the award goes to Dr. Sanjay Kumar, who is the co-founder and director of Niche Medicare and Education Services Private Limited. So, congratulations to Dr. Sanjay Kumar, who is the co-founder of Niche Medicare Education Services Private Limited, for bagging this award in the category Innovative Contribution in the Healthcare Sector. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is for this emerging tea brand. As the name goes, it is backed by the Aromika Tea and the director Ranjit Barua. Congratulations, Aromika Tea, for the category Emerging Tea Brand 2021. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is for the professional organization of the year. For the category, the professional organization of the year, the award goes to Dr. Tejo Kumari Amudala. She's the managing director of Teja Business Solutions Private Limited. And the category is professional organization of the year. So, congratulations to Dr. Tejo Kumari Amudala and the whole team of Teja Business Solutions Private Limited. The next category of the award is the Youth Leader Award. And the Youth Leader Award goes to the very talented orator and an upcoming political personality, Dr. Syed Asad Abbas. He is the chairman and managing director of Cincinnati International. So, congratulations to Dr. Syed Asad Abbas for bagging this award under the Youth Leader category. So, congratulations, and we wish you all success in all your endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, the next category is for the Best Reiki Therapist. And the award goes to Neha Srivatsava of Mystics of Occult World. Mystics of Occult World gets the award, and Neha Srivastava backs the award for Best Reiki Therapist category. Congratulations to Neha Srivastava. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, the next category is the Healthcare Excellence Award for the year 2021. And the award goes to 9X Healthcare Private Limited. We have two directors sharing this award. Congratulations to both of you, Dr. Jayant Rao B. Patel, Director of 9X Healthcare Private Limited, Yogesh V. Yol, Director of 9X Healthcare Private Limited. Congratulations to both of you for bagging this award under the Healthcare Excellence Award 2021. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is for the category Young Entrepreneur of the Year 2021, and the award goes to the Director of Junior Engineers, Arpita Jain. Arpita Jain, congratulations for bagging the award under the category Young Entrepreneur of the Year 2021. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, the next category is Best Event Management Company in Ranchi. And the award goes to Rakesh Kiar Mishra, an event manager of Chatkara Foods Events. Chatkara Foods Events gets the award for the best event management company based out of Ranchi. Congratulations to Mr. Rakesh K.R. Mishra. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is Best in Catering and Customer Services. And the award goes to Rahul Kumar Kashyap, MD, Shubh Party Organizers and Caterers. So, Shubh Party Organizers and Caterers get this award under the category Best in Catering and Customer Services. Ladies and gentlemen, so with this, we come to an end of the award segment of the World Startup Conclave 2021. They say that all good things. They say that all good things should come to an end. With this, it's time to end the World Startup Conclave. But
Anjali?
Yes, Monica. So, but we have the room open for networking. So, request you all to please switch on your videos and network with all the fellow participants who have all joined here. So, once again, our heartfelt thank you to all the dignitaries. Our heartfelt thank you to Mr. G.R. Akadas, who took time out of his busy schedule and graced this occasion. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. Our heartfelt thank you to our moderator and panelists for a very insightful panel. Thank you to all the participants who all of you joined and who have all been a part of the World Startup Conclave 2021. The event is conceptualized, organized, and presented by Global Triumph Foundation and Image Planet. We take this an opportunity to thank our elite sponsor for their support. This event is supported by MSME Government of India, our elite sponsor. Thank you, Asian Checkout, Miraki, and Franchisee Karo. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, wishing you all a very, very happy Independence Day. Stay safe. Please in case if you're not taking your vaccines, please do take your vaccines and stay safe. Thank you. Signing off, Anjali. The whole conclave is now open for networking. Take care.